guys, welcome back to Black, White, and the Grays. I'm Kylie, and if you hear some noises, I have my twins, I'm in my greenhouse, and we have a dirt pile for the kids in our market garden, and my twins are over there dirt piling it up. So, dirt pile is a really great idea because it's in like my work zone, but sometimes when they're fighting a lot, not such a great idea. But I wanted to share today about my books, my literature that I like to read. And I am quite picky about my literature. So all the books I've read, I typically, except for, actually, for a exception, I have a rule for myself. So we go to the local library a lot. And if I check out a book from there more than 3 times, so if I keep renewing it because I'm not done reading it or I want to reread it, buy it for myself. So I typically don't like to buy books for myself unless I know I'm going to actually really, really love them, or yeah. So there's 2 books I'm going to tell you about today that I did not do that with, and there are very good reasons for both. These books are for flower farming, cut flower farming, and also just market gardening. And these can apply to basically anybody. Do I have crazy hair? Nope, it's just the beam. And these can be used all across the board. The first book I'm going to recommend is actually the first book I started with, and I checked this out from the library multiple times and then just bit the big one and bought it. It wasn't very much. I think it was $16. This is from a local author, Linda Stevenson. So if you live in the area or if you live in a cooler climate, I think it's on Amazon. It's Cold Climate Gardening, Hardiest of the Hardy Plants, Trees, Shrubs for Central Oregon Gardens. But like I said, this is a great resource for anybody living in an area that's a little more difficult to grow. This book, you can tell it's well read. And for my first year, I devoured this book. I highlighted, underlined, took notes beside this. I even had connections with Linda. She owned a nursery in our little town, but then since retired, that was a loss. That was so sad. That nursery was amazing, but have since been able to keep in contact with her, and it's been a huge help. So one thing I will say about this book is, in my brain, when I was a new gardener, and I still consider myself a beginner, but when I was brand spanking new, especially to this area, I would look at the lists that she compiles, which are quite extensive. Okay, so like for example, she lists varieties of vegetables, and for carrots, she'll list the Danver carrot, which is like just your classic carrot. I remember emailing her and being like, can I grow all carrots, or is it just this one variety that will do well here? Because if you are familiar with like plants, there's certain varieties of, I don't know, there's like there's the hardy varieties, and then there's not so hardy varieties of different flowers or different perennials typically. I just wanted to double check. And yes, we can grow all the carrots. So that is one thing. So she is great with that. She definitely has more, I would say, more extensive knowledge with perennials and trees and lawns. Like that's how that lady taught me how. I asked her, so to get a grass to grow here is ridiculous. When we lived in West Virginia, it was so simple and so easy that we didn't have to worry about it that much. But here it's crazy. So her lawn, I highly recommend this book. If you're local to the area, find it at different places. I believe it's on Amazon, like I said, but definitely recommend this book. All right, people. These next 2 are two of my favorites. I try and keep my literature minimal. I do check out a ton of books from the library and check it out, or research online on blogs or websites, and then again on YouTube. I feel like YouTube is a very extremely valuable resource. I'm a visual learner, so that's probably why I don't have so many books. And I know like certain authors that simplify things. I can't handle, like in my brain, I cannot comprehend. I don't know. I feel like gardening is super, super simple, but a lot of people overcomplicate it, if that makes any sense. And I never want to be that person that, if there's a simple way, I want to use it. And that's gonna lead me into my favorite book, but I'm gonna get to that in a second. This is my favorite book for cut flowers by Erin at Floret Farms. The cut flowers, I mean, I think they're just crazy big right now. They're just they got their new show, and it's I checked this book out so many times the last 3 years and finally bought my own copy last year. This is a great resource for cut flowers, and in this one, she has a few others. I guess she has one about dahlias coming out. We can't really grow dahlias here, so they're not that, it doesn't pertain to me as much, but her other one is a year in flowers, and I have enjoyed that one, and I'm probably going to purchase that one as well. This one just goes into a lot of flower varieties, which is wonderful. A lot, some we can't grow here, some we can, but it's so helpful. It's planting, it's spacing, it's how to harvest them, it's how to make them beautiful. It's gorgeous. Okay, this is gold. I checked this out of the library. I think I broke my own rule. I checked this out so many times, and finally broke down and bought one. This is by Charles Dowding. No Dig Organic Home and Garden. This book changed how I garden and simplifies it. He is British. We come from very different growing zones, but he simplifies it. This is no dig. No dig gardening. He does the no dig everything. His YouTube channel is fabulous. It's perfect for on a cold, snowy, rainy day. Just snuggle up by the fire and watch some of Charles. It's so soothing. I learn so much. The man puts so much time and effort into his videos, and he's a genuine teacher, so he'll take you from like a season's worth. So it'll be like potatoes. He will show you him planting them to harvesting. In one video. I love that. So time consuming. I don't know if I could ever get to that, but I admire his work. And we had a trip to go, and I was taking one of his courses. I mean, everybody's been around in the last year, you know. So we were planning our trip for March 2020 and to go to the UK. That was canceled. That was devastating. He had a 2-day class. I was going to be in it. I was going to meet him. This man I consider my mentor. I have learned so much from him. I have another book I'm going to show you. If you're a local and you're growing produce, obviously watch my YouTubes. But these books together are a recipe for success. Charles put out a video, I don't know, a couple months ago, or I just watched it a few months ago, and he was talking about starting new beds. Okay, well, we started our whole market garden last year, and there were no weeds, and we did his method in our 900 square foot family garden. Oh, it was amazing. And then I was like, oh, there's no weeds here, we don't need to put down cardboard. After I had already went through a season realizing adding compost, which this is common sense, I should have realized this, adding compost and water is just fertilizing the ground, weeds, and the weeds that weren't there before sprang abundantly. So, and he talks about, oh, even if there's no sign of weeds, put the cardboard down. It doesn't matter. You're just putting cardboard down. It's basic, it's free. I don't purchase any cardboard. It's 100% free, and it'll save you a lot of time and effort in the long run. Now, I do have some stubborn weeds that go way past, they don't work with a few layers of cardboard, but they're slowly dying. So it just takes a few years. And I believe he says like year 3 is when you really start hitting the sweet spot. You always have an occasional weed, but he keeps up on it. And in this method is so simple. This man, he's amazing. All right, the next 2 books are books that, because I know Charles, not know him, but like I am very familiar with all his work, and I think I have every single book. He does like a gardening myths book that I know was like a hot debate. There was some controversy over that, but I enjoyed that book. He goes into typical gardening myths, like don't do that, you can't do that. Gardening is so, it just depends on where you live. It depends on your environment. I don't know what the word I'm looking for right now is, but it's so different that you can't, I feel like you can't say this is gonna work for you and this is not gonna work for you 100%. Even my sister and I, we live 4 miles apart, and we are very, I have a chicken coming down to my greenhouse. We are very, what works for me might not work for her. So you just never know. This is his newest book. I purchased it this fall, planning to read it in February. And we've had some warm weather, so I haven't been like hunkering down to read, but we have a winter storm warning on the horizon. So 8 to 20 inches of snow. Me and Charles, we're gonna be BFFs by the end of the weekend. So this is his no-dig course. This is course 1, and I'm assuming it's gonna be fabulous. Probably go in more depth than the organic home and garden, and this is gonna be more like, yeah, I'm pumped to get this. So I'm gonna highly recommend this book. I know I haven't read it yet, but Charles wrote it. Come on, like, it's gonna be fabulous. The next, all right, this is my last book here. This one I got because I had never heard of it, and I just got it a week ago, and I've mowed through it. I recommend it. So, Cool Flowers. This is by Lisa Mason Ziegler. She is a cut flower farmer. Now, she is in Virginia, so she does have cold winters, but not as cold. We're a zone 3, I think. She's definitely a zone 6 or 7 or something like that. Not a 3. And we are a 3-4-ish. So, this year's been more mild, but our summer was way harsh. We had 7 frosts in just July and August, and that is where I come up with the problems that we have. So these are cool flowers, and they're annuals in most areas, or some of these may reseed themselves. So like bachelor buttons, they love their life here. So that's an example she uses in here, and I know there's more varieties than what she lists, but still, this is a good tool to have. Teaches you a lot about it, and I recommend it. So there's 2 flower books for you, this one and the Florette, and then 3 gardening books, 2 by Charles, 1 by Linda. She's a local author, so if you are in the area, definitely pick that up. It's at the Chamber of Commerce in town. All right, guys, well, that's what I had to share with you today. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you found it helpful. I hope that my recommendations, hey, your local library should have these, and if they don't, you can request them. You can request them, and then they bring them in. So do that if you don't want to purchase them and you want to try them out. And except for maybe Linda's book, if you're not from the area, just order it on Amazon. It shouldn't be too much. It's definitely a valuable resource to have on hand. Well, thanks guys for following along with us. I'll see you on our next video, and I hope you're staying warm out there, because we got some snow coming, and I hope we get it, because we haven't had hardly any. I say that, but we had like 5 inches last week and it went away. So our typical winters, it like snows and snows and snows, and we just keep getting feet of snows, and it just stays up from November to March, sometimes April. And this year, I swear my garlic's about to start to pop up. Don't do it yet. You gotta save yourselves. Oh, don't do it, garlic. But it's so warm. It's so warm. So I wouldn't be surprised. All right, guys. Well, thanks for following along. I'll see you next time. Bye, guys.